All right, let's just bring you some breaking news here that mediators say the Gaza ceasefire deal has been approved by both sides. This is a post that US President Donald Trump has just posted on his Truth social media platform, that a Gaza ceasefire deal has been agreed. So breaking news here on Al Jazeera that the deal has been agreed. Al Jazeera's Alan Fisher joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Alan, so we're all waiting on tenterhooks for news of this, and news that Trump has now posted on his Truth social media saying we have a deal. What are you seeing and hearing there at the White House?
This has been building, particularly over the last couple of hours, when Donald Trump, in a meeting at the White House, said he just stepped away from a call with his team that were in Egypt in Sharm el-Sheikh, and he was encouraged by the progress that had been made and thought there would be an announcement soon. Talked about heading to the Middle East at the weekend. That may now be brought forward. It appears that the outline of a deal has been done. Donald Trump, on his Truth social platform, has, just in the last couple of minutes, said, "I'm very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America. And we want to thank mediators from Qatar, Egypt and Turkey who worked with us to make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. President Donald J. Trump." So after hours of speculation that this was going to happen, that we were edging closer, that there was more optimism than there has been at any point in the last 2 years, it appears that Donald Trump and his 20-point plan and the pressure that he has exerted, not just on Hamas and on Israel, but on others in the region, appears to have delivered a peace deal which should mean an end to the war on Gaza.
Yeah, and Alan, obviously the executive word here, or phrase, being the first phase of the peace plan. Are any more details emerging about what parts of Trump's 20-point plan they have a deal on? Because it's unlikely, as you say, that everything's been agreed to.
Well, most of the details, of course, will still be in Sharm el-Sheikh. Donald Trump will have been given the details of what has actually happened. Nothing has been made public from Washington, D.C., but it's clear that there was a general agreement that the framework suggested by Donald Trump was something that they could work on. There were certainly concerns and technical issues about how far and how quickly would Israel pull out of Gaza, how quickly would there be an exchange of prisoners and captives, how quickly would the Palestinians get their people out, whose name would be on the list, would there be senior figures that they'd been talking about for a number of years, what would the role of Hamas be, would they be completely frozen out, would any Middle Eastern country give them a guarantee of a seat at the table? All of this was going on in Sharm el-Sheikh, and clearly it is a complicated, difficult negotiation, but it appears that after 3 days of discussions, with a lot of big names appearing on Wednesday, a deal has now been signed, and we're waiting to see what that means for the people in Gaza, because of course, when Donald Trump announced his 20-point peace plan, he said he wanted to see an end to the bombing in Gaza. And nothing new happened in Gaza. The offensive continued, the bombings continued, and the deaths continued. Now there is an outline of a peace deal. The pressure will be on Israel to stop doing what they have been doing in Gaza for the last 2 years and stop the offensive, which has claimed more than 65,000 lives.
Yeah, Alan, and Trump says that he will head to the Middle East this weekend. How much pressure did that put on Hamas and Israel, and indeed the negotiators, to get this deal across the line?
Well, I don't think there was that much pressure from the president. I think that was always there. And certainly there was a consensus among the countries who were represented in the talks in Sharm el-Sheikh, excuse me, and the wider community, that a deal had to be done and agreed quite quickly. Donald Trump was talking about possibly flying out on Saturday night or Sunday. That then changed with a statement from the White House in the last couple of hours saying that he would have an annual medical on Friday, and sometime after that, very short order was the phrase that was used, he would head to the Middle East. So that suggested that it would be at some point on Friday. Now that a deal has been done, that everyone is in Egypt, there's every possibility that the president will head to the Middle Middle East much sooner than Friday morning, because, of course, he's very keen to be seen to be the driving force behind this. And to a large degree, he has been. No one was talking about peace talks. The Israelis had killed negotiators from Hamas, both in Tehran and also attempted to do that in Doha. There was a concern that everything was kind of locked. Donald Trump then had a meeting with senior officials from Muslim nations and Middle East countries at the United Nations General Assembly. He said that would perhaps be his most important meeting. And from that came the outline of this 20-point plan, which he officially unveiled on September the 29th when Benjamin Netanyahu was back at the White House. So it appears that there has been enough negotiation for the US president to announce that phase one has been agreed. And of course, this is now all about sequencing. And we've seen that before in a number of peace processes around the world. My personal experience is in Northern Ireland that if you do this, then we do that. And when you do this, we'll follow with that. So that has all got to be agreed. So the first phase seems to be in place. What happens next will maybe be subject to further negotiation, but it appears that Donald Trump has delivered what he said he would deliver very quickly after his election way back in January, and that is a ceasefire in the war on Gaza.
Alan, just a final thought to you before you go, and obviously we'll come back to you throughout the night. There is even talk, perhaps, of Trump visiting Gaza itself. It's not confirmed yet. This is just something that's being reported. If that did happen, though, Alan, it would be pretty much unprecedented, wouldn't it?
It certainly would. It would need a great deal of a huge security operation. I'm not entirely sure that the Secret Service, who protect Donald Trump, would be keen on that idea. He would go in with the Israeli Defense Forces, given that he said in his statement both sides will be treated equally and fairly. Excuse me. That might not be the optics, but then Donald Trump has never been too much concerned about optics that may be read a different way from everyone else. It would be a huge logistical and security operation, although it is possible. While foreign journalists have not been allowed in Gaza, the Israelis have made accommodation for those that they think will help put their side of the story, and allowed the journalists in under a huge security cordon. So it's possible that that could be expanded and delivered by Donald Trump. And there may be a welcome for Donald Trump from the Palestinian side, because after 2 years of constant war, a US president seems to have finally delivered, because we've had many false dawns over the last 2 years, and it appears that there is going to be a new one in Gaza tomorrow.